People that work or have worked in bikini waxing salons. What is the worst, disturbing experience you have come across while giving someone a bikini wax? Not safe for work. Hi Reddit guys, subscribe now, or I will be a badass. I have one. A girl came into my salon a month before she got married. She had never groomed her pubic hair and claimed to be a virgin. She wanted to be waxed right before her wedding. Completely natural, right? I recommended she get a wax now, and another before the big day since there was no way of knowing how her prized lady bits would react to the wax. She declined and set an appointment 3 days before her wedding. Fair enough. When she came back, I was not prepared for the amount of pubic hair she had. It was unusual for a fair-skinned blonde client to have long coarse black hair. But whatever, it's my job. So I trim her up, clean her, and prepare to wax her. Again, she had ungodly amounts of dark hair. Even trimmed, her skin was barely visible. So after inspecting her and not seeing any issues, I begin waxing. I shoot you not, she had skin tags and perturbing moles that I did not see before starting. To get to the point, I pulled a strip from her labia area and pulled off about 20 skin tags. She yowled. The entire salon heard. And then she started bleeding. Like gushing blood. We know how to handle bleeding pores. But I had never heard of this. So we're both screaming and crying and I have to call her an ambulance because she would not stop bleeding. I thought I almost killed her. Maybe not the grossest story, but it was traumatic. I changed professions soon after. I imagine her wedding night wasn't magical either. Sounds like HPV, not skin tags. That's entirely possible. But I'm pretty sure in her case there were skin tags. She had them on her neck as well. And I have accidentally waxed my share of warts before. They didn't come off the way these particular anomalies did. But maybe, having cut the occasional skin tag off from time to time, can confirm they bleed like crazy. I remember when I was in 8th grade I got really pissed off at one of my skin tags and cut it off with a pair of scissors. Yeah, it didn't stop bleeding and it eventually grew back. Body won me 0. I used to be an esthetician and I'll never forget the first Brazilian I ever gave a girl. I was inexperienced, so to get the butt area I made her go on all fours. After I powdered up her butt, I was holding her cheeks open and closely examining the direction of her hair growth so I'd know which direction to spread the wax, as I was trained to do. Then all of a sudden I see her beehole opening and closing and opening and closing, and then bam. She fully farted in my face. She was super embarrassed and said it was an air bubble. Didn't smell like one though. It was just saying hi. Sailors would have nightmares about the depths below just imagining the opening and closing of that black hole of horrors in the center of a giant squid's mouth. You faced the crack of the kraken and lived. Bulging hemorrhoids. I never knew 2 words that could sound so fricked up before. Thanks for that mental image. A worm fell out of someone's beehole when I was waxing it. A tiny, little maggot-while looking worm. Finally a worm reply. This is what I've been waiting for. Not me or disturbing, but my instructor in cosmetology school told me about a time when they had to practice anal waxing and the way she was supposed to do it involved her putting talcum powder on the beehole area. So, she powders the person up and as she's grabbing something else from her work table the person lets out an airy toot and a little fluff cloud of powder came with it. She couldn't contain herself and had to do the assignment another day, haha. LOL, I just imagined this little comic strip in my head with the word toot and a speech bubble coming out of someone's butt. Sperm bubbles. Women didn't always wash up after X and they'd come in for a wax. Sometimes the semen would form a bubble while you were waxing and then it would pop and leave you with an awful rancid sperm smell. This is the worst comment on here. Actually made me gag. My waxy lady and I talk about this all the time. She said girls come in on their periods all the time. She doesn't mind as long as there's a tampon in place and it's clean. Some ladies don't comply. She's seen women who haven't properly wiped their BH after taking a dump. But the weirdest thing she saw was a girl who was born without an a-hole. I don't know who, why, how, what, where, but yeah, that's weird. Unfortunate, mostly. My buddy was born without a beehole. They ripped him new one shortly after he was born. The best part, I kid you not, he has the ability to suck air and water into his butt and expel it again. I never went to the pool with him again after that. I'm just picturing some dude propelling himself through the water through beehole power. Poot 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 poot. What's is your secret talent? May have been the best or worst question for him. Esthetician student here. I plan on going into Brazilians, Manzilians, bikini waxing, and full body after graduation. The number of people who come in during their monthly cycle, only wearing a pad. Come on now. Can I ask what makes you want to go into those areas? I have always been curious as to what attracts people to body waxing as a career. I've had a few Brazilians done and I asked my waxer what her worst experiences were and she said there are so many people who come straight from the gym or their afternoon jog or their strenuous workplace without showering or anything. How can you have that little self-awareness? Reading that smelled bad. I had to put my sandwich down for this thread. Is it roast beef? No, tuna. My friend is esthetician. She has sent ladies to the gym for growths, aromas, etc. She says it's about once a month that she has to have that awkward talk with a client. The worst one she ever told me about was a sweet older lady with a labial abscess. Poor woman. It must have hurt like hell. She had it treated and came back to say thank you. Not a waxer, but a spray tanner. For well-endowed women of the bust or butter policy is arms overhead or turn around and bend over. Only if absolutely necessary do you lift with the back of the hand and spray underneath. On this lovely day I had a particularly hefty woman come in, and she don't want no tan lines. It was time for turn around and bend over, lift the butt and what looked like a week-old sopping brown tampon comes slurping out, bounces off the back of my hand and splats on the floor. How did you sleep that night? Curled up in the shower. You're made of tougher stuff than I am. So was that tampon. I always feel so self-conscious before going for a bikini wax, and I always tell myself they've seen worse. Thanks for confirming that. Yeah, I'm suddenly feeling really good about myself. I got a full Brazilian as a dude. Female esthetician works on me. My girlfriend is waiting in the lobby. After she's about halfway through the front she asks if she can ask a slightly unprofessional question. I say sure. She says she's never seen a circumcised peanuts before, but didn't ask me any actual question, just made the comment. The worst part was that the walls were thin so pretty much the whole lobby heard the conversation. So I guess you are circumcised? He is now. What a ripoff. Proper response. I've never been jerked off while getting a wax before. I think the toughest thing I've ever seen through as a waxer was a minor getting a Brazilian. Yes, her parent knew and signed a consent form, who didn't clean herself properly. Looked like she had diarrhea and wiped back to front, with super thick hair and I got stuck pulling a labia strip. It was my fault. I didn't cleanse and poke around thoroughly enough before I started, but I almost went to go get a co-worker BC. I thought I was going to need help pulling it off. Client was a champ though, bore with me throughout the whole process. Definitely the toughest experience I've had, even beyond the 400 plus LB ladies I see. I've been a body waxer for 5 years now, and we are a special breed. It's almost like nursing when it comes to putting on the professional face when we're confronted with something gross. But to be honest, it's really not that bad of a profession. Smells yes, some excretions yes, blood yes. Even poop sometimes yes. But you're there to do a job, and if you're good enough at it you push through it. These people are opening up an incredibly vulnerable part of their body to a complete stranger. The last thing I want to do is scar them for life by making a face or a rude comment. So, shake some extra powder on there and keep laying those strips. It'll be over soon enough. Smells yes, some excretions yes, blood yes. Even poop sometimes yes. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to my office job. You're champ. How self-conscious can the ones that don't wipe their ass really be though? Like I would take an orbital buffer to my beehole before I'll let anyone near it, let alone a stranger. I once was the gross customer by pure accident. My former girlfriend liked the idea of shaving your chest etc. The less hair I got on my body the better. Blah blah blah. Insert story here. I did bleed so heavily out of every damn pore on my chest that the lady stopped mid-session. After the bleeding had stopped somewhat I helped cleaning up, paid and left. The bruises were visible for several weeks. I did never try waxing again. Not really gross. Fairly common during waxing, especially with first timers. If you do try it again, exfoliate the area leading up to your appointment. Makes the hair come out a tad easier. Not a waxer, but a client. Waxer asked what I was doing on my phone and I informed her that I could hit 2 Pokestops at the salon. I lured one while getting waxed, because why not? One thing led to another and she started singing the Jigglypuff song as she waxed my beehole. I'm bummed she left. Okay Reddit guys, subscribe now, or I will be a badass.